Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel. For this video I wanted to do my April favourites because there was quite a bit going on during April, a couple of big events and a few other bits and pieces that I got involved with. So yeah, I just thought I'd do my regular catch-up video to let you know what I was getting up to and to point you to some blog posts that I've written about them as well, just in case you haven't checked out my blog lately. So yeah, let's just crack on with it. So I'll start off with a couple of events that I went to. The biggest one for me was the Aniridia Network conference, because I wasn't just kind of there as a delegate watching the presenters and things. I was actually kind of filming the presentations and stuff like that because I'm involved with the Aniridia Network social media. I kind of volunteered to help out with that a little bit. So yeah, it was quite a busy day, and it was also the first conference I'd ever been to with them. So I got to meet lots of great people, as you do at this event. I mean, there was 100 people attending, so it was a really busy day. There's an old school friend of mine there with her mum. There was a child from the school I went and spoke at last month, back in March. He came along with his dad, so it was great to see him again. There's a lady who helped with the Aniridia Day promotional video that we did last year. And then, there's all sorts of other people that I met. And the speakers were great as well. We had presentations on various things, some about scientific research into, Aniridia and possible drug treatments and stuff, and the psychological effects of Aniridia and depression and things. And we had an explanation of access to work. We had a presentation about the Naidex network from Sue Ricketts, who runs the charity. They're kind of a sister charity to the Aniridia network because a lot of people with Aniridia also have nystagmus, so there's a lot we have in common. But nystagmus can be caused by various other conditions or can happen on its own, and not everybody with Aniridia has nystagmus either. So we are still separate in that respect, but there is still a lot of common ground. So it was good for Sue to come along and tell us about the charity, and I went and spoke for them last year at their open day, so it was nice to be able to get her to come to ours. And there was also a wonderful lady there called Fern Lulham, who's a motivational speaker. She's got Aniridia and nystagmus just like me, but her sight loss is more severe than mine, so she's got a guide dog now. She gave a wonderful talk about how she's lived a very happy and fulfilling and successful life despite having her eye conditions. It just inspired everyone in the room. It's really uplifting, moved a few people to tears, and I got to chat to her during the day. It was wonderful to get to know her a bit better. So yeah, she was great, and I've written about all of this in my blog post about the Aniridia conference, and there's also a playlist on the Aniridia Network's YouTube channel of the conference videos that we're gradually uploading about one a week or so, because I was filming them all on the day and I've been editing them together, and yeah, we're just kind of staggering the uploads just to spread them out a bit. So yeah, it was a really successful day. I'm really pleased with how it went. I met lots of great people and heard lots of great speakers, and we had a lovely social in the evening. And yeah, if you've got any connection with Aniridia, go and check out the Aniridia Network. We're kind of regularly updating stuff on the blog and their YouTube channel. So yeah, that might interest you if you're into that kind of thing, if you're affected by the condition. And then the other big event was Naidex. This was at the Birmingham NEC. This is Europe's largest disability and independent living event, and it's basically a big trade show with all sorts of suppliers of products and services and technology and so on for the disability community. And there's speakers and panel discussions and a mobility test track for wheelchairs and a sports arena for people to try out different sports and all sorts of stuff going on there. So I went along to that. I was made aware of it by the Prism group. A lady there got in touch with me and said, "Did you know about the event and everything, and would you be interested in coming?" It's a free event, so there's no cost to me in actually attending, other than the travel, obviously, and the hotel stay, because I had to travel down there. But I paid for all that. That was fine, because it did intrigue me when I heard about it. And they also asked if I wanted to be an ambassador on social media for the event, which basically meant I plugged them a bit on social media and they promote my blog in return. So that's what we did. There was no money or gifts or anything like that changing hands. It was literally just I promote them, they promote me. Simple as that. Just a matter of making a couple of posts here and there. Fine. I was genuinely interested in the event, so I was happy to do that. And yeah, I paid my way to go to the event, and I looked around and I loved it. Again, they didn't ask me to give a particular opinion or make any videos or blog posts or anything, but I have done a massive comprehensive blog post about everything I saw there and all the different literature I picked up and the speakers I saw and stuff. It was really, really interesting. So, go and have a read through it. It was, just packed full of stuff. I chatted to lots of great people, and it was easy to find my way around. I used like an app on my phone called Issue, which allowed me to bring up like their show guide, telling all about the show with a floor plan and details about all the exhibitors and things. And yeah, I just found it really easy to find my way around. I didn't have any trouble, didn't feel lost in there. It didn't feel too crowded. I mean, it was really busy, but everything was kind of big enough and open enough that it didn't feel too overbearing, too crowded, anything like that. So I really enjoyed it. It was really, really interesting. I found out about a lot of things that I'd never been aware of before. So yeah, I'm really glad I went, and I'll definitely consider going in future years. I've also been to a couple of museums this month as well. I always try to go to museums regularly. This time, in both cases, it was for an accessibility study of one sort or another. If you've been following me for a while, you'll know I've been to a couple of museums with a lady called Rafi Cecilia, who's doing a PhD in museum accessibility for the blind and visually impaired community. So she basically sticks a GoPro camera on me and just watches me as I go around the museum, and then does an interview with me afterwards about my experience. So we've done the Victoria and Albert Museum in the past and the Museum of London, and this was the third and final museum this time round, which was the Wallace Collection, which is an art gallery basically just behind Oxford Street. I mean, I never knew it was there when I was a kid, and I expect a lot of tourists don't know it's there, but it's quite famous. So I went and explored the Great Gallery, as they call it there, and it lives up to its name. It's stunning. I mean, genuinely, the paintings and the sculptures and furniture in there, it's all gorgeous. And I spent about 2.5 hours in there looking around, and I just about covered half the room because you just take your time looking at everything. So it's beautiful, but the accessibility for visually impaired people is not good, to be fair. They do advertise on their website that they have an audio guide for the visually impaired. When I went to reception and asked for it, they didn't have one and didn't seem to know what they were looking for. So I picked up the standard audio guide instead. I was able to type numbers into it for each of the artworks, but they just kept saying there was no commentary available, which suggests, there's only commentary available for some artworks and not others. So I kind of gave up on that. In fact, in one instance, it got the commentary wrong as well. I picked the wrong commentary for the wrong item. And then later on, when I did try it again, I managed to find a few exhibits where it said the commentary was only available on the family tour, which I don't understand. I'm single and I haven't got children, so that precludes me from hearing commentaries on certain artworks. I don't understand that. So that was very disappointing that the audio guide wasn't any good. However, I was also recommended an app by Rafi called Smartify, which is basically Shazam for art. If you know Shazam, that's a music app which allows you to basically hold your phone up to a piece of music and it'll recognise it and tell you what it is. This is the same thing really, but for art. So you just hold your phone's camera up to a painting or a bit of furniture or a sculpture in the museum, and it just instantly tells you what it is and gives you all the information about it. As presented on the Wallace Collection's website, it's just a copy of the text from that, really. The interface is nice, it's nice and easy to see. Their default colours are inverted colours, white or black, which is perfect for me. So I was able to use that going all around the gallery. Even the paintings that were high up, I was quite a way down from, because it's quite a tall room. Even with light shining on them, the app was still able to recognise them, pick them out. So that saved the day, because without that app, it would have been really difficult. I mean, they did have a guidebook in the gallery, but trying to read that with my eyes or even using the magnifier on my phone would have been really difficult. So yeah, Smartify was really good. I was able to kind of look at it clearly on the screen, or I could have used speech with it as well if I wanted to. So Smartify is great, but the Wallace Collection's accessibility in themselves isn't. And indeed, they don't even advertise the Smartify app, which is quite weird. Because Smartify have only partnered up with selected venues because there's copyright issues and all sorts, obviously. So there's only certain venues in London and a few in Europe and in the United States as well that they've been able to partner up with so far. So yeah, you can't use it in every museum in the world, but there are certainly some significant ones in London. So I'll be checking this out at other galleries as well where they use it. But it's a shame the Wallace Collection don't advertise it, because it's a really useful little app. And then the other museum I went to was the Victoria and Albert Museum. And this wasn't to look around this time, this was to do a focus group session, basically looking at different ways of exploring objects when you're blind and visually impaired. So they had 4 different ways of doing things that they wanted to get our feedback on. One was just audio description on its own, with no tactile object at all. You just get a photo of the object and just get some audio description, that's it. One was just an object that you can pick up and feel, and then you just place it on a box and it gives you the audio description instantly, and which is nice and simple. You can have a whole table of objects and just place each one on the box one at a time to hear the description of it. It's just a 3D printed model of the object, it's not the actual object, obviously. And then the other one was another 3D printed object of some hieroglyphics this time, and you had a ring on your finger, a paper ring that had a tag in it, an RFID tag I think it was. Then there are sensors underneath the 3D printed model, so as you move your finger over the model, it triggers different bits of audio depending on which part of the model you're on. So it just tells you about that section, which is quite useful for hieroglyphics because there's obviously a lot going on. So yeah, that was quite interesting. But the most interesting and intriguing part of the whole session was the other table, which had Ultrahaptics on it. And basically what this means is that you feel an object in the air. There's no physical object there, but it's represented by ultrasound waves, which is really quite weird, really, at first. It feels like kind of air blowing onto your hand, basically, when you hold it over this pad. And you can feel different shapes on there. You can feel like a dot moving around your hand, or indeed the dot can follow your hand around, because there's a little camera as well that knows where your hand is. And you can get like a rotor effect, like helicopter rotors that you can feel under your hand. It feels nice, there's nothing wrong with it, it feels perfectly nice. Like I say, it's just it feels like air blowing against your hand, but it's not, it's ultrasound waves. And then they just brought up the actual object, which was like a bracelet. So it's just basically a circular shape. It's not high definition detail. You can just feel there's like a circular shape there, really. It's still kind of in its infancy, the technology in that respect. But, it's interesting to get a representation of the objects, and as the technology improves, it'll certainly get better, I think. I mean, there's no substitute for touching an actual physical object, even if it's just 3D printed. It's far better to feel that. But even so, I'm sure Ultrahaptics will have its uses. So it will be really interesting to see how that develops. And it was just fascinating to see how well it worked even at this kind of early stage, being able to feel certain shapes and movements. It's quite strange, but quite cool. So I really enjoyed that. And then I also got to go to the theatre during the month as well. I went to see Motown The Musical with East London Vision. That was really, really good. We also got a touch tour and audio description as well, which was really great. So we got to go up on stage before the show and have a close look at the costumes, and handle them and everything, So you got to see the costumes for people like Diana Ross and Marvin Gaye and Stevie Wonder and the Temptations and the Four Tops and Michael Jackson and the Jackson 5. And the wigs there as well, and there's an old mixing desk and an old phone and stuff. So there's plenty to look at, and it was great to chat to the people who work on the show as well. And the show itself is brilliant as well, as you can imagine. There are so many big hits in there. I knew most of the songs. There's a few I didn't know, but the vast majority I did know. And, the performers are all brilliant. The singers have amazing voices, and the backing band who are playing there are brilliant as well. And, the sets and the lighting and everything are really cleverly done, as well as the costumes. It's just a great spectacle. And it tells the story as well of Berry Gordy, who, founded Motown originally, and the journey he went on, the difficulties he faced, right up to their 25th anniversary concert. And it's really interesting because it was a new story to me. So I enjoyed that aspect as well. But obviously it's the music everybody comes for. And it's really, really good. So if you like music from that era, then do go. Even if you don't know music from Motown, go anyway, because if you like music in general, it's brilliant. And then I've also been on a few walks as well. Now the weather's been getting nicer, and we've had a couple of little mini heat waves on the weekends now. I've been taking the opportunity to go out and explore some more of the parks in London that I've not yet been to. So one week I went to Mile End Park and Victoria Park in East London, because I'm always changing at Mile End Station to change to the Central Line. Done that for years. When I was a kid I used it a lot, and since I've been in London, living here for over a year now, I'm still using Mile End Station a lot. So it's nice to actually get out there and explore something in that area for a change. So yeah, Mile End Park and Victoria Park are really, really nice and right next to each other. And they're not far from the Olympic Park either in Stratford. So yeah, there's a lot of nice areas around there to look at. And then another weekend I went to Regent's Park and a walk around there, because it's one of the big parks in London that I'd not actually been around yet, and then walked through there to Primrose Hill and took the view in from there, because the view across the London skyline from Primrose Hill is amazing. Not quite as good as the view from Ali Pali, or Alexandra Palace to give it its full name, but it's still very, very nice. You can still spot a lot of the iconic landmarks and things like the BT Tower and the London Eye and the Shard and stuff. So yeah, it's a really nice view up there. And I've posted a few video clips as well from those parks on my channel as well, just so you can have a look at those. And I'm always posting pictures on my Instagram of places like that I go to as well. So if you're not following me on Instagram, do, because I do try and post a lot of photos on there, and I try and post in the stories bit as well when I'm out and about too. So yeah, go and check out my Instagram as well. And talking of the nice weather, we've actually had a lot of nice hot sunny weather lately, so I've had to bring out the sun cream now, which is brilliant. And I thought I'd recommend the sun cream I use, which is Nivea Sun Pocket Size. The fact that it's pocket size makes it very easy to carry around, but it's also very good sun cream as well. It's factor 30, because I burn quite easily, so I didn't want a number that was too small anyway. But yeah, this really works really nicely. I just put a layer of sun cream, on my skin, and it lasted me very, very well. I was out for 4 or 5 hours the other day, didn't have to reapply it, and I was absolutely fine. I didn't get sunburnt at all. So yeah, it was great. It works really, really well, and yeah, it's handy. It's pocket sized, it's water resistant. So yeah, Nivea Sun Pocket Size. It's worth having a few bottles of that around, just so you can take one out with you. And then finishing with TV and radio, I've been watching much the same as usual, really. Big Bang Theory and Young Sheldon, The Flash, Family Guy, and they're all still going. They're all still very good. Not Going Out finished its latest series, as did Dara O'Brien's Go 8-Bit, so hopefully both of those will come back fairly soon. Have I Got News for You's back, as always. That's always good to watch. On Radio 4, The Unbelievable Truth with David Mitchell. It's also come back for another series. That's always fun to listen to, because you get to learn some interesting facts on there, as well as hearing the comedy of it as well. It's a very funny show. But the one completely new series that I've been watching this month and would recommend if you like comedy is Cunk on Britain. If you're familiar with Charlie Brooker's shows, like his annual wipe and his weekly wipe and stuff like that, you'll know the character Philomena Cunk, played by Diane Morgan, and she's basically just this idiot who gives ridiculous opinions on anything and everything. And now she's been given her own series talking about the history of Britain, really. And it's basically a mockumentary. It's a parody of history documentaries, and it's really, really funny. It's really, really good. There's a lot of very clever humour in there, lots of very silly humour as well, and it's just really, really good fun. It's a great laugh, and she actually does interviews with actual real experts, but asking the most ridiculous silly questions, so seeing their reactions is, all part of the fun. So yeah, Cunk on Britain, go and check that out if you like a bit of comedy, and it's really, really good. Yeah, I recommend that. Apart from that, I haven't listened to any new audiobooks or music this month because I've been busy with other things. The Aniridia Network conference took up quite a bit of my time kind of getting ready for that, especially as it looked like I was going to be speaking there, so I actually spent a while preparing a speech for it. Which I didn't need to do in the end. I was filling in for someone who dropped out, but then the schedule changed and I wasn't needed anyway, thankfully. But even so, that still took up a bit of my time, as did editing videos afterwards and stuff. So that's been a big focus of the month, as has Naidex as well. I've been writing a blog post about that since I came back from that. It's taken me about 2 weeks to kind of go through everything and catch up with that and other posts about museums and things. So yeah, I haven't listened to a lot of new stuff, but I'm getting more into music and audiobooks again now. The coast is clear, as it were. I'm getting into Amazon Music more, actually, because I signed up for Prime eventually last year, I think that was sometime, and never really got looking into the Amazon Music Unlimited side, but I like my music, and I figured it would make a change in the radio to kind of actually go through the music that's on there. So I'm kind of picking artists that I know from my own collection, but perhaps don't know all the songs by, and just kind of exploring them and just seeing what the songs are like. It's basically the equivalent of Spotify. Basically, I can listen to whatever I want. If I hear something I really like, I'll download it. And I've already discovered albums by bands. They already had albums full, but they're newer albums that perhaps I wasn't aware of. So I've been able to kind of top up my collection a bit on the way. So yeah, it's nice to get back into all that stuff again. It's a good way of trying out music, and the Prime subscription has definitely been worth it because we do order a lot of stuff from Amazon. So getting the cheap delivery, the cheap one-day delivery from that, it's definitely been worth it. So Amazon Music's made a nice change in the radio, and it's just allowing me to explore lots of new music, really. So that's good. And yeah, I want to try and get back into the audiobooks again this month as well. I was hoping to in April, but time just ran away with me in the end. So yeah, that's it really. There's nothing else of importance to mention at the moment. There's nothing major coming up in the diary for May that I can really tell you about. Things are much more relaxed now, so I can kind of just go out and kind of enjoy myself more without having to worry about speeches or events or anything like that. Just relax and enjoy what will hopefully be continuing nice weather now. Fingers crossed. You know what English weather's like. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you have a wonderful May as well, whatever you're planning to get up to this month. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe as usual. And I will see you for another video very soon. Bye.